Hello everyone, it's your girl Trendy of Style by here. You're welcome to another beautiful tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful flared water neck dress. The dress is really a cute one, so comfortable to wear, and this tutorial is totally beginners friendly. So if this is what you are interested in, let's jump right into the tutorial. So I'll be making use of these 2.5 yards of African prints. You can go for any fabric of your choice. So far it is lightweight, and I'll be making use of my tape, my chalk, my scissors, less than half yard of 0.5 inch elastic. I'll be starting off this tutorial by folding the 2.5 yard into two equal halves so that I can have one for front and the other one for back. So I'll go ahead and divide the 2.5 yards into two. So one piece will be for front while the other one will be for back. So I'm gonna head to separate it, and I'll be working on my front piece first. So I'll start off by imputing half of my shoulder measurement. Half of my shoulder measurement is 8, so I'll be placing my tape horizontally like so to get my 8 inches. Okay, and I'll create a straight line there just as you see me do, and from that my mark I'll take the length of my dress. The length of my dress is 35 inches. So from there I'll place my tape and measure 35 inches, exactly 35 inches, because by the time we add our strap is going to add a bit of inches to the length. So that 35 inches includes my hemming allowance. So this is me trying to confirm that what I have at one end of that triangle like that is the same thing I have at the other side. So make sure you do that too. So I went ahead to take my length. Okay, remember I said you take your exact length. So please take note of the way I place my tape while taking the length, and you can see the way I'm shifting the tape while trying to get the length. So having gotten my length at the open end of our fold here, I'll go ahead and mark 14 inches. Okay, just take note of it. You will later understand why we'll need that 14 inches mark. Okay, so I'll go ahead and mark 14 inches and we'll give it a notch. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do again is to add our rope allowance, because the front is going to be having rope around the neck. Okay, so we need a fold where we are going to pass our rope through. So I'll go ahead and add 1 inch fold rope allowance to the neck part. Okay, you can either take the 1 inch up or you take it down. If you take it up, it will reduce the amount of gathers that you have around your neck, but if you take it down, it will create more room. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take down because I want a fuller gather around my neck. So I'll take 1 inch down. Okay, and I will mark it into a straight line. And mind you, this isn't going to affect your length. Okay, just follow what I'm doing. I'm sure you'll understand later. I've gone ahead to cut it, and this is what I have. I'll also go ahead and trim the lower parts. Okay, and go ahead, I'll cut the length out. Okay, so I will also be showing us how we can attach our fabric if you want a longer length of this dress. Okay, so it just occurred to me, so I went ahead to make an illustration of how you can add your fabric if you want a longer length, because this length is by 45, and by folding it like that you can't have any length up to 40. Okay, so if you want a longer length, maybe you want up to 60, a floor length, what you have to do is just to fold another fabric into two like so, if you are making use of African print, because you don't have them in longer lengths, and you place them 1 inch on each other just at the hem. After you might have folded your triangle, you place another fabric, you fold it into two. You can see the way I folded it. You place them at the edge of the fabric of the one you folded into triangle. Just look at what I'm trying to illustrate to you. You place the folded fabric on top of the one you folded like triangle with one hinge on each other like so, and you go ahead and pin. Then you take your length. Okay, so by so doing you'll be able to get a longer length. So after you have gotten your length, you can then go ahead to join them later after you might have cut out. Okay, so back to what I was doing before. I'll go ahead and cut out the length, okay, so that we can have our front piece intact, and we are as good as done for the front piece. So I'll go ahead now and bring in my back piece, fold it into a triangle just the way we did the front piece, then place the front piece on it so that it will serve as a guide. Now that I have my front piece on the back piece, you can see I've already folded the back piece and I placed the front piece on it. So I'll go to that our notch that I had on my front piece. I'm going to use that as a guide to mark the back piece. Okay, so that notch, it is how deep you want the back to be. Like I said earlier, it totally depends on you. Okay, so you can decide to do less than that 14 inches mark that we made on the front piece. Okay, so you can decide to go higher than that. So I'll go ahead and mark the same thing at the other side of the triangle so that I can create a straight line there. Okay, so that we have that already now. So to eradicate any form of V-like shape that part might want to give me at the end of the day after cutting, I'll go down by 1 inch and I will gently create a curve there so that I will have a nice shape after sewing. Okay, so I went down at that folded part by 1 inch, then I connected it to the notch that we had there before. Okay, so I'll go ahead and follow that my new mark to cut out. Okay, so this is me adding 1 inch for our elastic. There is elastic at the back while there is rope at the front neckline. Okay, so this is me creating 1 inch allowance for the elastic at the back. So, and I will again bring back my front piece so that it will serve as a guide for me in cutting the lower part of the gown. So after cutting the lower part, I'll remove the front piece, then cut from the mark that I had there. So after cutting now, we are as good as done. Then I'll go ahead and fold 1 inch for both front and back. So at this stage now, we are as good as done for both front and back cutting. So I'll take them to the sewing machine and fold our 1 inch that we left for elastic casing. I'm going to go ahead and double fold ½ an inch. Then I'll bring it back to show us what we have. So after stitching, this is what I have. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do now is to pass our elastic into the casing that we created for the back, while we pass the rope for the casing we created for the front piece. So I'll go ahead and take my safety pin to pass our elastic. Okay, and you might be wondering how I got to know the elastic measurement to use. It is the width of that part, okay, the length of that back divided by 4. Okay, what I have at that part where I'm passing the elastic, I took the total measurement, then I divided it by 4. So I used that value to cut out my elastic. So I've gone ahead to pass the elastic for the back. So I'll go ahead now with the front piece to pass our rope, and I've gone ahead to cut a straight piece of 1.5 inch wide and 72 inches long. Okay, so you can decide to cut a shorter one or a longer one. Okay, so and I've gone ahead to stitch with 1/4 inch, and this is me trying to turn it inside out. Okay, so that we can have our rope inside out. So now that we have our rope, I'll go ahead and insert it into the rope casing that we did for the front and insert the rope. Okay, So after inserting the rope, the next thing we are going to do now is to place our fabric with right side facing each other, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch, okay, at both sides. I'll start from the lower part of the gown to stitch. Then if all things are properly done, then your back piece should end at that notch that way you have at the front part, okay. So I'll go ahead now and stitch with 1/2 inch and bring it back to show us. So after stitching, this is what we have, okay. I also make sure that I stitch all the way up because we can't leave that edges like that, okay. So I make sure I stitch all the way up, and I had to loosen that part a bit so that I'll be able to have my stitch all the way up to the neck, okay. So after, and I also had to remove the rope, which I'll be fixing later. So if you take a closer look, you'll see that after finishing that edge, I went ahead to add my loop, okay, because I want a crisscross kind of look at the back, okay. You can add as many as you want. So this is how I folded it, following the stitch that is started at the hem, just run it up from the hem to the neck part, okay. So this is what I was trying to explain. So I'll go ahead now and fold that other side. Haven't done one side, I'll go ahead and fold the other side, and I'll also insert my loop and hem the lower part of the dress. Then this is what we have after I've done all those things. So as you can see, our cutie little dress is ready, and it is looking so neat. You can see that part that I have already neatly stitched it. I also went back to fix the rope back, and I've done the hemming. Our dress is beautiful. So you can choose to style this dress as you want. You can tie it and make it like just alternate by tying it around your neck, or you crisscross it at the back. You can even tangle it, like twist it on each other to make a stylish look at the back too. So thank you for sticking by. If this tutorial was helpful, don't forget to like, share, comment, and give me a thumbs up. So thank you so much for sticking by, and see you in my next one. Bye.